Hello and welcome back, folks. What the crap's going on? Heir of Carthage here, and we are back in Total War Warhammer 3. As promised, today I'm going to be covering the Regiments of Renown. We're going to take a look at these units, talk about what they bring. Do they change their faction's playability much? And my guess is going to be no, just because it's one per faction. However, I feel like this is a nice topic to cover for once, because in a sea of negative things that we could say about Warhammer 3 right now, getting free Regiments of Renown is a positive thing, and I'll take it. So let's talk through these Regiments of Renown, like I said, and find out what they do. We're going to start with Grand Cathay. Now, speaking of, I'm going to have the discussion of all these, and then I'm going to splice in some footage at the end where you can see these units in combat. So if you want to see the footage, you can skip ahead. If you want to walk through the description and the differences, that's what we're going to cover now. So the Regiment of Renown for Grand Cathay is the Dune Dragons, which is an elite version of the Celestial Dragon Guard, which is already an elite infantry. So this is an elite of the elite. They have some pretty cool color changes on their skins, but let's check out the difference. So there's some key differences here. Because the unit has 9 chevrons, like every Regiment of Renown, this unit is going to have 10 more leadership, 9 more melee attack, 10 more defense. And then when we take a look at abilities, the major change that comes in, if you take a look here versus here, we get a couple of things added. We're going to have Encourage that's added, and that means that they're going to inspire nearby units, basically giving them more leadership. They are also immune to psychology. And then they also add 20% spell resistance, which means they'll be a little more resistant to any spells that someone does to try and get them off the battlefield. So essentially, this unit is going to cost more, but be really good against big nasties on the battlefield, right? Cavalry, single entity monsters, things that cause terror. This would be a great unit to have in the middle of your forces to help encourage others, and it also will be immune to psychology, while also dealing some pretty significant armor-piercing damage against large. Now, just like their cheaper brothers, they do maintain really important features like charge reflection, which gives them some supreme ability to tank charges. Now, unfortunately for us, we will have to wait until Q3 before charge attack works formation attack works properly. But in any case, that is the Dune Dragons for Cathay. Let's take a look at the next one. Our next Regiment of Renown is the Hellforged Host. This is an exalted bloodletter for the Khorne faction. Now, bloodletters are, especially the exalted variants, already fairly quick moving and devastating on the charge against armored foes, particularly armored infantry, because they come with a bonus versus infantry. They do lack a little bit of armor. However, that's one of the things that is going to be different about the Hellforged Host. As you can see, it has 20 more armor, and then due to the fact that it's 9 chevron, it also has 10 more leadership, 10 more attack, 9 more defense, and it comes with the Hungering Blades, which is going to be a pretty cool ability here. Basically, as soon as they hit more than 30 kills, it ramps up their base weapon damage and their armor-piercing weapon damage and melee attack. And it's not a small margin, so they get significantly stronger after they pick up their first 30 kills. These are a very expensive unit. They are a very powerful unit. You better believe that armored infantry foes are going to suffer greatly at the hands of these guys, and it won't take them long to hit that 30 kills. Get even stronger. Really, their only weakness is the fact that they are going to not have a shield, so it would make them somewhat vulnerable to missiles from range. But the Hellforged Host is going to be an absolutely fantastic addition to the roster of Khorne, giving you some supremely good anti-infantry carving power. Now we move on to Kislev, where the new Regiment of Renown there is Daz's Hearthblades. This is a Zarguard with great weapons. Kislev is not fantastic in a melee up against most factions because they are primarily a ranged and magic-focused faction that also has some decent mobility in terms of lots of different cavalry and other options. So getting a Zarguard Regiment of Renown will add a little bit of probably needed infantry punch to Kislev's capability, and Daz's Hearthblades are going to definitely add some punch. Due to the fact that they are 9 chevron, they will have 10 more leadership, 9 more attack, 9 more defense, but they do come with a special ability here too, which is Daz's Song of Winter Sunlight, which is going to give them vigor reduction over a short period of time. It only has one use, but this can essentially help them get back from being tired and continue to fight. They also come with fire resistance of 20 because they have flaming attacks. This also means that they will be pretty good against any unit that regenerates, as flaming attacks slow regeneration. Also, I can think that that 20% fire resistance would be helpful against Tzeentch, whose units almost all have flaming attacks, especially the magic ones. So these units will be very good against other armored infantry. That's where they're going to thrive, but should do well against all infantry in general. Their really only weakness is the fact that they are a great weapon unit and lack a shield, so you will have to be somewhat careful in terms of missile fire incoming. These are going to be powerful units indeed. For Nurgle, we get the Festering Stooges, which is, I guess, the cousins of the Three Stooges, but with a lot less slapstick comedy and a whole lot more plague. Now, these are exalted plague bearers of Nurgle, which means they do have a devastating ranged attack, which you can see is 12 plus 12 more in missile strength. So, I mean, these guys, the regular exalted plague bearers are already devastating from range. These guys are going to be particularly devastating from range. They also pick up 10 more leadership, 10 more attack, and 10 more melee defense. However, there's a couple of real doozy abilities that come on this unit that we need to pay attention to that are new for it. The first is the Gloom of Flies here, which is a passive augment ability, which adds 9 melee defense and the ability to cause terror. Its duration is infinite. It cools down whenever they're in melee, and it recharges if they're engaged in melee. So essentially, when they get into a melee, this unit this will kick off, and then as they get back into another melee, it can recharge potentially. So this is going to be huge. 9 melee defense is a lot, and it's going to help this unit be very difficult to kill. And then you couple that with the next ability, which is the Festering Gate. And the Festering Gate gives a heal per second, and it can even restore dead combatants. However, it has to finish healing all the injured ones before it can do so. But if this unit, for instance, were to get damaged and then pull out of battle and wait, it could literally come back to full strength. Grandfather is really going to like this unit because it is going to be very hard to kill, and it's going to be very long-lasting and healing. So this is going to be a very powerful infantry unit indeed for the forces of Nurgle, and it should excel against anything that's low armor while in a melee. But to be fair, it's going to last so long in combat, it's going to be dangerous against many things. And with that missile attack, this thing's going to be devastating before it gets into combat. Many units will take massive damage to that missile attack unless they can get into range very quickly, because 3 volleys of that is almost enough to level an elite infantry unit. For the Ogre Kingdoms, we get the Powder Guts. Yes, the Powder Guts. Everything's got to have a gut when it comes to the Ogres, and these guys are no different. They get an extra 10 leadership, 10 melee attack, 10 melee defense. However, over the regular man-eaters with Ogre pistols, they get an additional 20 range and 31 missile strength, and I think that's because they have a faster reload. They end up doing more damage. So they do tremendous damage from range at 138, and a good deal of that is armor piercing, and then they maintain some pretty decent melee stats. Really, the only downside of this unit is they don't have a whole lot of armor, but they do come with that typical Ogre Charge, which is rather huge, and they literally have an ability called Ogre Charge as well, which helps them against charged defenders. Now, if we take a look at other things, they can fire whilst moving, which is cool. That's, of course, on the regular ones as well. But they also have this adaptive tactics ability that comes in. If they lose in melee, then they actually gain 24 melee defense and 24 melee attack. So if they kind of start to fall behind, they'll actually pick up some. It's a pretty neat ability and gives them the capability to last much longer in fights, and then of course to do tremendous range damage. The Seducers of Slaanesh, we are going to get the Bringers of Beguilement. Seducing, beguiling. Yeah, it definitely sounds like Slaanesh. So these scantily clad demonettes will go straight for your heart. Probably because you'll love them, and then also probably because they're going to kill you. Again, it's Slaanesh, so that's just the way things go. They get 10 more leadership, 11 more attack, and 10 more defense because of their experience chevrons that they come with. However, again, there's more than meets the eye with this unit. It gets perfect vigor. Perfect Vigor is going to be massive. It also picks up 20%, they still have the 20% physical resistance. Yeah, bringing Perfect Vigor in means that this unit will never get tired. They will move around the battlefield at full speed and full fighting capability in terms of not having lost any from being tired at all times. Now, in line with regular Exalted Demonettes, they have the devastating flanker ability, which means that this unit will be a completely devastating flanker, as it can continue moving at full speed and fighting at full strength because of perfect vigor. So this is going to be a very powerful melee unit indeed, capable of killing many foes on the battlefield, with the obvious downside that comes with any Slaaneshi unit, which is the fact that they don't have a whole lot of armor. But you're not supposed to wear clothes when you're a Slaaneshi, so they're doing things right. For Tzeentch, we have the Blazing Squealers. This is going to be an exalted pink horror of Tzeentch that comes with the unique ability to reload ammunition for other units that are within a certain effect range, which is 55 meters. So it's going to reload ammunition, and if you can pile some units in there, you can feasibly get a whole lot of units reloading, with, of course, the danger that you don't want to keep too many units blobbed for too long. But what else sets them apart is that compared to their regular Exalted Pink Horror brethren, they're going to be coming with an extra 10 leadership, 8 melee attack, 10 defense, and 10 missile strength, also with the Warp Flame effect on their missile damage, which makes an enemy weaker to fire and loses armor. So this is going to be a really interesting multi-function unit for a Tzeentch army in the sense that it is a support unit, being able to help reload ammunition, and it is a ranged unit as well, doing devastating damage from range. So that is the rundown of the Regiments of Renown. These are interesting Regiments of Renown. I would imagine that as time goes on, we'll probably continue to get even more interesting units, as CA probably isn't going to release the most amazing stuff first. All of these units seem to be a fun add for their faction. I don't know that any of them are faction-changing or game-changing for any of the factions, but it is a nice added bit of flavor, and who doesn't like getting 6 units for free, especially whenever we're at a point when, like I said, there is an absolute ocean of negativity around the game. It's nice to have an island of positivity with the Regiments of Renown, so I am happy with this, and I hope you all are too. Stay tuned, because I'm going to have some battle footage for each of these. I'm not going to narrate it, but it will be here at the end so you can see what these units look like, and see them going up against a foe that I have picked for them that I think will demonstrate them in their best scenario. Anyway, stick around for that, and I will see you all next time. Some more footage in Total War Warhammer 3.